In any fandom, especially those of massively popular shows, there are always a whole slew of theories about all sorts of things, ranging from possible interpretations of certain moments to crafting whole backstories for characters that haven't been given one yet. Fan theories are a big part of the culture. Here are 15 shocking theories from Demon Slayer. Kicking things off, we've got a pretty dark one right off the bat with theory number 1, which is about Tangeros family and their deaths. In the very beginning of the series, when Tanjiro returns to his home to find all of his family killed except Nezuko, he believes her to be the only survivor because she is the only one who's still warm. But the reason for her being warm is because she had been turned into a demon. What if someone else at this house was still alive as well, even if just barely clinging to life? Perhaps Tanjiro could have saved them too if he had kept a cooler head. That's a pretty ridiculous thing to expect though. He was a kid that came home to a massacre. Of course he freaked out. Next up at number 2, we have the theories about why Tangeros Sword is black and what the significance of this color is in the context of nature and blades and demon slaying. The most prominent tool for Tanjiro's demon slaying in the anime is, as with all demon slayers, his Nichiren blade. Unlike most though, his blade is a pure black in color, where normally the blade takes on the color of their user's breathing style. There are a couple of reasons for this, but the most widely agreed upon one is the connection Tanjiro and his ancestors have to Yorichi and his will. The first true demon slayer and creator of the breathing technique was a user of sun breathing. His blade was pitch black as well, turning crimson in the heat of battle. The black Nichiren blade that Tanjiro wields is not only a sign of his connection to the founder of breathing techniques, but also a bit of a lesson in light science. Colors, as we perceive them, are just a specific wavelength of light being reflected off a surface, while others are absorbed. So, when something looks blue, it's because it reflects the wavelength of light that appears as blue and absorbs the others. Black is the one color which reflects no wavelengths and absorbs all light. Parallel to that, sunlight, or white light, is the source of all other colors when split into its separate parts. The usage of the black blade as a tool for sun breathing in particular is thus a direct representation of how sun breathing is the source of all other breathing techniques, as it has every one of them absorbed within it. Honestly, the whole thing with color theory is something I really love as a bit of a nerd who loves seeing real-world science being incorporated into fiction. Moving on to theory number 3, we take a look at the connection Muzan has to the demons he creates and just how far it goes. As is well known, Muzan is bonded to an extremely deep level with all demons that he creates. In the part of the series where Tanjiro kills an upper 4 demon, and Muzan is seen to be spying at him and Nezuko afterwards, we see just how far this connection goes. Muzan's view of them seems to be an aerial one, which would imply he's watching them through the very cells of the demon that Tanjiro slashed up into the air. To be able to use something as minuscule as that and enable it to have a vision, it's pretty clear that Muzan's sheer control over his demon's bodies is even more terrifying and extreme than one would expect. Next on the slate is theory number 4, which proposes an idea about how Tanjiro was so much stronger in the time when he fought Daki and Gyotaro than he seems later on. During his first fight against Daki, Tanjiro used both the fake rainbow form of sun breathing as well as a new form altogether. Now, for the most part, it's pretty much a sure thing that he was able to do this, thanks to the information shared by Rengiko's father about sun breathing. Another thing he mentions, however, is that sun breathing is at its highest effect when the user's body is running warm. Because of this, Tanjiro purposely gets himself sick during this time and forces himself to keep going with a fever. This is even more apparent later in the Swordsmith Village arc, when Tanjiro fights the upper 4 demon, as he's not nearly as strong as his fight against Gyotaro, when he was still pulling the fever hack. This next theory, the 5th in our list, is a bit of a sad one, depending on how you look at it. I suppose, as it deals with the topic of love and how Tenjin might be struggling with it more than anyone realizes. For the most part, it's claimed that Tenjin loves all 3 of his wives equally, and it seems that is indeed the case. However, many people believe that he actually only truly loves Hinatsuru, and is just with the others because of his clan's tradition of having 3 wives chosen for every man. The fans who run with this theory say that Tenjin's pandering to the other two's whims, like with his nail paint, is a sign of his own guilt. He panders to the other 2 far more than Hinatsuru, because he's overcompensating for what he knows inside. Personally, I don't really think that theory holds much weight, but hey, it's just a theory. A game theory. No, I'm joking, please don't sue me, Matt. Putting that rather saddening theory behind us, we move on to number 6, which outlines why exactly demon slayers stick to swords when there are options that seem better at first glance. Since guns exist in the demon slayer world, you might wonder why they are not used more. Well, a pretty sensible and likely true story about that is quite simply that they're ineffective and highly risky against stronger demons. For low-level ones, sure, blast away way. But when it comes to demons that have true strength, breathing techniques are vital to a demon slayer's survival, as they allow for the body and muscles to be made denser and tougher to cut. Also, there is just the fact that their guns are fairly primitive and the reload time alone would make them a liability in battle. Coming off of that note, theory number 7 is about what I like to call Tanjiro's own version of false Super Saiyan. During his fight against the Upper Moon 4 demon in Season 3, Tanjiro is able to turn his sword crimson by combining it with Nezuko's flames. This, however, is nowhere near what the true crimson form of a black nature and blade is capable of. It's pretty much just a different power boost with the same kind of aesthetic. Next up is theory number 8, which is about possible reasons for Nezuko's survival after being burned by sunlight and her subsequent immunity to sunlight despite being a demon. Well, the easy answer is that she was able to survive due to the same connection to sun breathing as Tanjiro, and the fact that she hadn't consumed any demons. Many don't agree with that. Instead, a popular theory is that her mother drank blue spider lily soup and the traits of the flower were passed down to her during pregnancy. Hey, if alcohol can mess up, I don't see why flower juice can't help one. Moving on, theory number 9 on the list is one that proposes Urokodaki was much more involved in the fight against Muzan in the past. Urokodaki is one of the few people in the series who displayed knowledge of Muzan and his secret pretty early on, as seen when he told Tanjiro about the demon's shape-shifting ability. Many believe this implies that at some point in the past, Urokodaki himself fought against the Demon King as well. Staying with Urokodaki for a moment, the 10th theory on our list is about why he wears his masks at all times. The popular and most widely believed theory is that he hides his face behind a mask at all times because he just looks too darn nice under it. You heard that right, it's believed that Urokodaki was taken lightly by demons and students alike in the past due to his gentle appearance, and decided to use his terrifying masks as a workaround. Tanjiro even mentions once that he's seen the man's face without the mask and that he was kind looking. Imagine having to hide your face because you're too good looking. I call that the Kakashi Effect. With this next theory, number 11, we come back to Tenjin. More specifically, his breathing style and the possibility of Zenitsu learning it. Tenjin's sound breathing technique is believed to be a branch of thunder breathing. With this, he's able to manipulate sound waves for all kinds of purposes, from buffs to himself to creating illusions to confuse his enemies. Many speculate that Zenitsu could actually learn to use sound breathing too, since his main style is thunder breathing and his hearing is all but unmatched. This next theory, number 12, is one that seems more like common sense than anything. It proposes that if the older generation of Hashira were to remain active as demon slayers rather than adhering to the rule of there only being one active generation at a time, things would overall be much easier for the demon slayer corps. It would give them a better chance at defeating the demon threat as a whole. Yeah, I mean, not much to argue against there. It would definitely make a huge difference. Why don't they do that actually? If I'm missing something there, please tell me about it in the comments. I don't want to put my foot in my own mouth here. Moving on to theory number 13, we have a pretty popular one that suggests why exactly Sename has such extensive scarring. For context, Marigetsu blood is a rare type blood that's especially attractive to demons. The Wind Hashira, Sename, possesses a level of Mariketsu blood that's even rarer and higher grade than that of a normal Mariketsu. As such, his blood doesn't just attract demons, but can be downright intoxicating. With him having a habit of using his own blood to bait and handicap demons in battle, it would explain the ridiculous number of scars on his body. That's all for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and click here for another very interesting Demon Slayer video. See you in the next one. Bye.